Meghan Markle is back, not with a royal revival or philanthropic headline, but with what might be her most tone-deaf performance yet. In a recent video posted to her as Ever Lifestyle brand's Instagram page, the Duchess-turned-entrepreneur tiptoes through a manicured English countryside scene, draped in white and loaded in jewelry that screams, "I'm still relevant." But instead of inspiring admiration, the ad has become the butt of a global joke, with none other than The Daily Show's Jon Stewart leading the roast. From mocking her thirsty quest for brand identity to highlighting Hermes' apparent disassociation, Stewart's takedown only adds to the rising skepticism over Meghan's authenticity and intentions. The video plays like a poorly directed fairy tale. Meghan carries a woven basket of rose, tiptoeing around like an overly styled influencer trapped in a wine commercial. Dressed in what looks like a $5,000 Pinterest fantasy, she flaunts Hermes sandals and Cartier accessories as if they're badges of credibility. The problem? None of these brands, not Hermes, not Cartier, not even the Roses label, have publicly endorsed the As Ever brand. Meghan's attempt at aesthetic luxury appears more aspirational than collaborative. According to several fashion insiders, Hermes has not entered into any formal partnership with Meghan or her lifestyle venture. In fact, their social channels remain silent about any connection. A notable absence in the influencer economy, where brands shout partnerships from the rooftops. Enter Jon Stewart. On The Daily Show, Stewart didn't hold back, describing Meghan's ad as a fever dream of thirst and branding confusion. He mocked the overproduced scenery and labeled the video a wine-soaked manifesto of privilege. His audience howled as he replayed clips of Meghan attempting to frolic through her faux countryside scene while trying to appear relatable. When you're trying to sell wine, sandals, and self-importance in one frame, you're not running a brand, you're running from reality, Stewart jabbed. The satire struck a nerve. Stewart's commentary, grounded in his usual mix of fact and sarcasm, pointed out what many have whispered behind closed doors. Meghan's attempts at rebranding often come across as manufactured, disconnected from the average consumer, and heavily reliant on the symbols of wealth she claims to critique. The most damning revelation lies in what wasn't said by Hermes. Despite Meghan's clear visual association with the brand, the orange sandals are unmistakably featured. Hermes has declined to issue any statement or acknowledgement of her post. Fashion marketing experts suggest that if Meghan had a real brand deal, it would be highlighted by Hermes in press releases, tagged content, or official campaigns. The silence suggests that Hermes may not have been informed of the inclusion, let alone approved it. This isn't the first time Meghan has used high-end branding without confirmed endorsement. Critics have pointed out a pattern of borrowed prestige, using luxury labels to reinforce an image of elite status, even when those labels have no formal ties to her brand. This tactic, while not illegal, certainly walks an ethical tightrope and reflects the growing desperation behind the As Ever brand's identity crisis. The ad isn't just a standalone incident. It follows a string of public appearances and digital content where Meghan appears more focused on aesthetics than substance. From Dior coats at charity events to vintage Louis Vuitton trunks used as backdrops for podcast shoots, Meghan has consistently mixed luxury with messaging, often at the cost of authenticity. Many critics now argue that As Ever is less about lifestyle and more about optics. A curated display of wealth, femininity, and soft power that appeals to aspirational consumers but offers little actual value. Even among her fan base, reactions are growing mixed. Comments on the video range from admiration to confusion. "Beautiful setting, but what exactly are you selling?" asked one viewer. "Is this a wine ad or a fashion shoot?" asked another. The lack of clarity only fuels Jon Stewart's original point. Meghan is trying to be everything at once, and in doing so, she's becoming less of a brand and more of a meme. Since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Meghan and Harry have struggled to land a consistent narrative. From the explosive Oprah interview to a failed Spotify deal, the couple has ping-ponged between media ventures, charity causes, and brand-building exercises, with mixed success. As Ever was meant to signal a fresh start. Yet, this latest video only reinforces what critics have said all along. Meghan Markle is more interested in seeming than being, more focused on image than innovation. What's particularly damaging is that this video comes at a time when luxury branding is under renewed scrutiny. Consumers are increasingly demanding transparency, authenticity, and purpose from brands, not over-edited montages of privilege masquerading as empowerment. Meghan, by leaning heavily on visual tropes of luxury without backing substance or partnerships, may be undermining her own credibility in the very market she's trying to dominate. Jon Stewart's takedown wasn't just funny, it was accurate. Meghan Markle's as ever video feels like a desperate attempt to stay relevant in a world that's quickly moving past celebrity vanity. The inclusion of Hermes and Cartier without proper acknowledgement, the rose wine with no brand mention, and the overly curated countryside aesthetic all point to a woman caught between influence and illusion. If Meghan truly wants as ever to thrive, she might consider focusing less on appearing expensive and more on building something that actually holds value to real people, not just luxury algorithms. Until then, critics like Stewart and the silent snub from Hermes will continue to serve as a reality check for a brand that feels increasingly out of touch.